testy. Yeah, I'm good. I'm pretty good. Pretty good. I increased my account by 16% yesterday. So that was exciting. Everyone's messaging me all of a sudden. More than I do investing for a year. Yeah. That's the goal. Look. That's the goal. I had a epiphany the other day. No, I looked into these guys and everyone that's in there is having trouble getting paid out, so I don't think I'll be using it. And look at my forward. Joke. Close that one. And then one active window. There we go. And then bring that one up. And then yes. Okay. Yeah, no, that account's up like $70 for the week. That account's up, down. That one's down $2,000. That one's down $1,000. That one's up $700. But this account, I set to $4,000 on Monday. Normally 5. Actually, no. Okay, it's not true. I set it to $5,000 on Monday. I was trying something weird out. Lost $1,000 on Tuesday. I had started with $4,000, and now on Thursday morning I'm on $5,500. Where are the easy to understand indicators? It's easy. It's easy. It's easy. But what I'm doing today, no, not this one. Where are the easy understaffed indicators? You mean understand, right? Okay. So, realistically speaking, indicators are pretty easy to understand. Like, my systems aren't simple, they are sophisticated to the point where they seem simple to me. But I've been doing this on Forex and gold and shit for like 2 years. I mean, look at this line. Look at this bounce off this line last night. I went to bed right here, woke up this morning with an extra $400 in my account. It doesn't get much simpler than that. That's the simple indicator. And that is easy when you are 200 IQ. I'm 127. 200's a long way away. No, it's not about, it's not so much about your IQ as much. It's about just understanding the market structure and what the market is and wants to do. See, like 2 years ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 2 years ago, 2 years ago, I am maybe 60, I don't know. Yeah, so, no, if you were 60, you wouldn't be able to speak English and German. Forrest Gump was 80. Okay? So, 2 years ago, I figured out that if I could make it in Forex markets, stocks look way easier than Forex. So if I can make it in the Forex market, I'd be fine when it comes to stocks, right? been fucking around with that for 2 years. Totally forgot that I ever thought that ever at any point in my life ever. And then on Monday I'm like, I wonder if I could do stocks now. Turns out that stocks are really fucking easy. I just gotta wait a few hours for them to bounce back into the correct areas. Ooh. Ooh. I don't know how to place these trades. That's there right now. I want to place like, it's $3. I just want to place one to see what it does to my margin. $3. So it's almost 1-to-1. Like $4 margin to make 3 cents. Okay, so if I wanted to do that with, say, if I wanted to make if I wanted to do 1% of the account, it's $100,000 account. Oh, that's shares. 1% of the account. $1,000. You need 200 ticks. I don't know what this is gonna do. This is what I want to know. I want to know what this does. My margin. Margin $1,000. Potential profit $6 or $7. Oof. I'd love to chill a bit, but have to drive. Will you be live tomorrow? Yes, I will. One percent is 1% margin. For 0.01% of a trade. What's the leverage on this? Fucking 1-to-1? I think it is. Stocks 1-to-1. Alert on gold. Here's the gold trade. Well, this is 10% of my account for this one trade. I really hope you make 16%. It's awesome. I would do much together that kind of system. For any system that expected value is not less or equal to 0. Yeah. The question is, like, I'll talk to you about it tomorrow, but using simple systems can work as long as they're not oversaturated, because saturated systems have got no edge, right? Using simple indicators is going to have an expectancy of 0 or less after commissions. And it has to, by rote of law. The true way to make money is to do something no one else has, because the edge in the market is when it is found where no one else is looking. Because if everyone's looking there, there'll be people taking both sides of that trade. If no one's looking at the same thing that you are, they're not using the same levels as you are, and you can arbitrage a difference out. Maybe if you used an SMA with settings that no one else would ever think of. Maybe. I showed you something the other day. We were here the other day and I'm like, look, just do this. Boop, 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 boop. I can't even remember what it was. I thought, and it was basically a coin flip, but I was making like 0.3 per trade. Do you remember what I was showing? Was it you? Sure it was you I was doing something with. Like, just fucking look, man, fucking man. And what was it? It was something so simple and so dumb. It was the simplest thing ever. I can't remember what it was. And it was working so consistently. I was like, fuck, maybe I should make a bot out of this, and then I forgot about it. Why can't I trade this? Ah. Because I have the competition account on. Yeah. I understand. Yeah, hopefully you do come back tomorrow and say hi and stuff. It's always nice to have someone to discuss ideas with. Just things in general. I'll probably be on quite a lot for the next few days, so make sure you check out during the day and stuff too. Now, sometimes I'll trade for a couple of hours and no one will show up, so I just close the stream because there's nothing to do with anyone else. No one's talking and shit, so I just leave. Hey! What? That's not right. I opened the wrong version. Okay, I get it. Oh, I get it. Then let's look at using
Nothing frustrates the hell out of me more about Forex traders than the fact that so many of people's expectations are placed out in la la land and nobody wants to look at the reality. And I'm not talking about just gurus, and I'm not talking about just people like you watching this video if you're not profitable trading Forex yet. I shared a trade in my free Telegram channel a couple days ago. It was an NZD USD sell. And this is just a free channel where I call all my trades live. I'll put a link in the description. If you want to join, you can just follow all my trades live for free. So this has been my past 6 months of results right here. $350,000 deposit, $273,000 in profit before swaps and commissions and everything called live. So I had put a trade in here on a New Zealand dollar, US dollar, and it was right here. So I put NZD USD is ready. So I went in here and I called the exact trade here in my Discord server, and I'll show you what it looked like the moment I called it. I'm short on NZD USD. I risked $30,000 on it. And then I'll show you what ended up happening, which is something that it frustrates a lot of people, but it frustrates me even more that people don't know how to handle when shit like this happens. So I sold here at the zone. I put a stop loss above. I put a target below. How do I trade? It's very, very basic and simple. All I do is I wait for price to get to clear support resistance zones. And if price gets to a support zone that's clear on the daily chart, I buy. And if it gets to a resistance zone when it's clear on the daily chart, I sell. Now, not every single time is a trade going to work out. I closed this early yesterday because price started making higher lows going up here into the zone. It looked like price had the chance of breaking above the zone, a little bit higher of a chance than it going back down into profit. So what did I do? I cut this trade right here before it hit the stop loss. I cut it like right in this little region here. And I cut it, and it was about a third of the way to the stop loss. So my original trade, the entry was like up here. The stop loss was above the zone. The target was below. And I cut it before it went and hit the stop loss. Because a lot of the times my only edge in trading is just the fact that I use 1-to-1 risk reward ratios. I buy at support, sell at resistance on the daily chart. And if price starts going against me, I try to get out of that trade earlier before it hits the stop loss. Every now and then I have a trade that hits the stop loss, sure. But most of the time, 75, 80% of the time, I'm able to get out of the trade at like a small profit, a break even, a small loss, a third or half the way to the stop loss, things like that. So what it means is that even though I only win about half my trades and I lose half my trades, I make more on average when I win because most of those trades get held to the profit target of 1-to-1. But when I lose, I'm able to get out of the trade early. Using a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio allows me to have like enough space and flexibility and room to manage the trade, as compared to just putting a stop loss closer and having stops hit all the time when price is just spiking deeper into the zone and then pulling back, and then it would have been stopped out. So I don't use 1-to-2 or 1-to-3 risk reward ratio. I don't put the stop loss tight at the zone. I give it room, I give it flexibility, and I manage things dynamically. So people get frustrated a lot whenever they close trades and they don't work out just to see them going back into profit. I'm over here saying, like, look, it's not that big of a deal, because if you get out of a trade early and you have the expectation that, okay, I'm getting out of the trade early and it's going to go against me, and it's going to be a losing trade and I just need to abandon the entire trading idea, guess what? You can just re-enter as soon as price starts doing what you thought it was going to do originally, provided you still have a good risk structure. So this is a trade I'm going to be taking right now. I'm going to call it out live here on this video I'm making. It's not the best entry just because price has already left the zone, but since the target still, even with the stop loss above the zone, since the target still is like around the previous low right here, I don't think this is that big of a deal. I think that we're probably going to go and make a new low if we come off this zone, and so targeting the previous low right here, we're not being heroes trying to like go for any crazy target or anything unreasonable. So
Yeah,
normally I
that
don't
was my
enter outside
mistake.
the zones, but I'm going to go ahead
I
and
was trying
take
to
this
be
trade
too much of
just
a
to show
hero.
you this idea of the fact that if you get stopped out on a trade and your expectation is that you should just abandon the trading idea and you're upset and then you see it going back towards like what profit would have been had you just stayed in the trade.
See that
Guess what?
re-entry? That would kill me. Re-enter, it would bounce again. Re-enter, bounce out, it would just fucking kill me. I didn't actually take that trade, gratefully, but we don't really take trades before about 5. That being said, it looks like I did take one there, and I did take one here. No, this is a 1. That's a null trade. I'm just going to move this to 42. Call this the trade.
You can just re-enter the trade. It's not that big of a deal. You can participate in the same trading idea because the price action and the context and the circumstances surrounding what the price is now currently doing allow you, and it dictates you to allow you to be able to go ahead and get back into that
I want
trade
to know
and
what that
participate
noise
in that
was.
idea by just simply re-entering. Now, if price had gone against us right here, further, right, we would have saved us a stop out. But now the fact that it's gone back into profit, okay, cool. At the time, it was perfectly reasonable to close because price was going sideways. It was not dropping. It was making higher lows. It looked like there was a good chance it was going to break out above this zone. A lot of the times, and I would even argue most of the time, when price starts doing some shit like this after you sell, that means price is going to break past the zone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this trade live right here. I'm going to show you exactly everything I do, and I'm going to call it out in my Telegram and in my Discord as I always do, and we will share it. Now, I don't. I do not share all the exact entries here in my Telegram channel. I just share, hey, I'm taking this trade, and then you have to do it all your own. If you want to follow my exact entries and stuff, I have a Discord server here where I share all my trades. You can find there's a link somewhere in the Telegram. I post maybe once or twice a week here in the Telegram for it. But this right here is where I share all my live trades. And again, every single trade is documented. Since I started this account like half a year ago, every single trade is documented. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and take this trade. I'm going to enter it here. I enter it on MetaTrader 5 on my phone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the NZD USD pair here on MetaTrader 5 on my phone. So once I'm on this pair, I'm going to enter a sell. And I'm doing it right now. I'm going to my chart. I'm clicking trade. I'm entering a sell. And you can actually see on my phone whenever I send the screenshot in there, you'll actually see that the price is actually still inside the zone that I'm trading off of. Okay, so I'm going to enter a sell right here. I'm going to put a stop above the zone, a target below the zone. It's going to be a $30,000 risk for a $30,000 profit. And I have just taken it, so now I'm going to screenshot it. I'm going to screenshot the chart as well as the trading terminal. And now I'm going to go post it in my Discord server. So I'm going to go here, and you can see it's going to pop up right here as I post it. So how I call trades in my Discord is I put a screenshot of the trade, I put a screenshot of the terminal right here, and look how simple it is. I put I am short on.
What? Open volume mixer. Where is Restream? See, Restream isn't making any noise. Okay. Does that do anything, by the way?
KK.
Okay, so it does make a fucking noise now.
I'll see you in the bayou.
Alright. This isn't always on top mode, and clearly it's not on top.
NZD USD, and I'll put in parentheses, I'll put again, with a $30,000 risk. And guess what? For the people that follow these trades, it's not a long, drawn-out explanation, right? It's fucking simple. Everybody knows I trade off support resistance. You can see in the damn screenshot. It's at a resistance zone. Okay, sweet. And in this case, you can see price is actually still, in fact, inside the resistance zone, which is one of the reasons I'm still taking this. It wasn't marked up here on TradingView in the same way it is on my terminal on MetaTrader 5. The support resistance zone is a little bit thicker, honestly. It's probably something like that, right? So that's why I'm still perfectly fine taking this trade. So they can see I've entered right there. They can see where my stop loss is. They can see where my target is numerically. They can see the actual trade here. They can see the lot size. They can see the exact entry price. They can see the amount of margin that I'm using on this trade. They can see my balance and equity. They know I'm risking $30,000. The account's at almost $500,000, right? This is just under like a, what? It's like under a 10% risk, right? It's like a 7% risk or whatever it is. So they can see all the parameters in here, and now people can follow my trades whenever I post them in here. They get notifications. Then what I'll do is after this, I will go to Telegram, and then in Telegram, what I will do is I will get a screenshot like this all lined up. I'm going to get it like nice and formatted here so that way we can make it nice and simple. And then what I'll do is, there's no need for this alert, so I'll just go ahead and take this alert off. Then I'll screenshot it here, I'll click the camera, I'll click copy link, and then I'll go to my Telegram channel right after I've called the trade, and I'll put, I am short on NZD USD. Just called the trade with all the specifics in MFX NT. The group, my Discord is called MFX Nix Trades. All I do is just a group where I share every single trade live. Every single thing. Everything. Going all the way back, I think I've run this group since like 2024. So all the trades are called in here and you can see everything. So we'll just go back to the present. But anyway, so that's how I call the trades in there. And again, a lot of people will get frustrated when shit like this happens. You enter a trade, it doesn't work out, maybe you close the trade early, or maybe you even get stopped out, and then people just get upset. They don't want to they don't want to do anything that allows them to re-enter the trade and be dynamic and fluid with it. People just get upset, they get annoyed, they get frustrated, they get irritated, and it's one of the things that really it really just damages a trader's confidence, and it damages your profitability and rational decision making because you're afraid to re-enter trades that look like they're going to work after you've already gotten stopped out. Some people say all this bullshit. They're like, oh, it's revenge trading. Here we go. Okay. So some people say like, oh, it's revenge trading and you shouldn't be getting back into trades that have stopped out. If they would have worked out, they would have worked out. I approach it way more dynamically. I approach it with like entering a trade using the 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio parameters as just frameworks for just being able to structure the risk on the trade. Anything past that is up to you and your subjective discretion. It's up to your price action discernment. You looking at the price action, seeing, is it going sideways after I enter? Okay, most good trades, if you're going to enter, they're going to go into profit. If they start going sideways, that's a reason to maybe look to just close the trade. If it starts going against you, it's okay to close the trade. If it starts making higher lows into a resistance zone, it's okay to close the trade. If it starts breaking the resistance zone, it's halfway to the stop, it's okay to close the trade. You should be very, very quick to want to get out of trades a little bit earlier if they go against you. And if they start going into profit, you should be very reluctant to close the trades. It's inverting this idea of what a lot of people have is a risk aversion, where when it starts going against you, you don't want to take the loss because you're scared. You're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to close it. And so you hold and you hold and you hold. You keep giving it more and more room, or you even start doing stupid bullshit like moving your stop loss further after you've already decided what the risk
Why are
is, and now your
you
risk
losing harder?
increases to like double, and you didn't pre-plan that. That's stupid. And then whenever it goes into profit, you want to get out early because you're afraid, oh, what if it comes back? Maybe I'll just close here, a third of the way to the profit target. Great, congratulations. Now your losses are going to be 2 to 3 times the size of your average winner, even if you got a 50% win rate and you're not going to be profitable because you're doing the type of shit that most people do. Whenever you're trading, you're going to get frustrated at times, okay? You're going to get a little bit annoyed and irritated whenever you get into trades and they don't work. I myself right now, I'm on a losing streak at this exact moment. The past 2 weeks of trading, I mean, here it is. It's all right here. You know what? As a matter of fact, I'll go to Telegram because I post this live for free. We'll go here to the Telegram channel. You can see for yourself. These are all the trades up until the last few trades I've taken. So I need to repost this in Telegram. But I was on a 3-trade lose streak at that point after the biggest winning trade of my career, USDJPY. That one trade I made $150,000 on it before fees and commissions. But now, currently, here's the full updated P&L. Right here, you can see I'm on a 1, 2, this is USDJPY's one trade. So I'm on a well, I guess it's not that big of a deal. I'm on a 3 trade losing streak. So a 3 trade losing streak, GN, UJ, and NU. And I've given back, you know what, that was 30,000.
Okay.
So this will be 36,000. So I've given back $46,000. So from my win streak of USDJPY, basically, I had $150,000, given back a third of that over the course of 3 losing trades. Right, 3 losing trades have only knocked out a third of the profit that I made on my last big winning trade. You know, it is what it is. I just see so many people getting irritated and frustrated, and it's one of the things that it just irritates me the most because it's something that's so simple to solve. Me and one of my clients were just talking this morning about it in Discord. We were talking about yesterday and this morning. And he was saying, how do I keep trading as I'm going through losing streaks? What I told him, as a matter of fact, let me just go ahead and show you. Okay, the thing is if I show you, it's going to show like his username and stuff. So anyway, I'll leave that alone. But what I will say is that what I told him is I'm like, look, man, you have to keep trading. You just have to keep on understanding that by entering trades and continuing forward and almost being kind of like a psychopath and saying, look, I lost the last trade, I lost the last trade, I lost the last trade, 3, 4, 5 trade losing streak. You have to continue forward and you have to continue ensuring that on average when you lose, those losses are smaller relative to what your average profit is when you win. If you do that, even if you have a 50% win rate, all right, if it's true that you win about half your trades and lose half your trades long term, if that's true, and if it's also true that you make on average a little more than you lose whenever you're wrong, that's the definition of fucking profitability. And yet some people get so upset when they lose a trade. They struggle to want to re-enter if it looks like it's going to do what they thought it would. They get so attached emotionally to losing, right? It challenges your ego. People want to be right so often. Trading is not about being right. Trading is about making a little bit more when you happen to be right versus what you lose on average relatively when you happen to be wrong. If you approach it like a business, you're winning trades of your revenue and you're losing trades of your expenses. Okay, if you run a business, I myself run a business. I run a coaching company, Mission FX. All right, we operate at about a 70% profit margin. That's after paying all my team, payroll, and everything. That is amazing, right? That's ridiculous. Like 70% of the revenue is profit, and then I'm at like the highest tax rate, so I'm like 50% of that's gone. So really, I keep about 30 to 35% of the top line revenue after tax for me personally. But whenever you look at it, imagine if I bitched and complained about the fact that 30% of the revenue gets chewed away because of payroll and because of software expenses and because of legal fees and because of accounting fees and because of payment processing fees and because of the software for hosting our websites and all the technology on the back end for Mission FX. Imagine if I got pissed off at that and I completely ignored the fact that, oh, we're still keeping 70% of the revenue. I only have to give away 30%. That 30% of the expenses is a cost of doing business that allows me to keep on taking shots at putting more content out, delivering more products and services, helping more of our clients, going and providing value to the world, right? Yeah, I get to keep 70% of it, but I have to accept that a percentage of that is going to be gone in fees and expenses that are a cost of doing business. If you approach trading the same way, and I would even argue if you approach life the same way, it allows you to not lose sight of what's important. It allows you to focus on, look, not everything's going to be butterflies and rainbows all the time. There's going to be expenses in trading. There's going to be expenses in your life. And if you run a fucking business or you have a career, you still have expenses. Even if you don't run a business, even if you're an employee, your biggest expense is tax. You have to pay tax. I don't care what your tax rate is, 10%, 20%, 50%. Everything has expenses, and everything that has upside also has its downsides. Everything that has pros also has cons. There's rarely a free lunch in life. There's rarely a free lunch in business, and there's rarely a free lunch in trading. And the sooner you understand that, the sooner it will stop bothering you and irritating you and annoying you that you have losses. And instead, you'll be able to shrug your shoulders and say, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to keep going. And you will be able to continue trading profitably because you're not becoming victim to all the things that plague most traders, which is getting upset and all bad and pissed off and losing enthusiasm because you have a couple losing trades in a row. That's my vote for you. Go and accept it and then continue trading normally. Make sure your losses are smaller than your wins on average. Long term, the stats work out. And I've proven this for 8 years that I've been running my free Telegram channel, and I personally have been trading for the past 10 years, okay? I'm uniquely qualified to tell you what I know works because I've seen it work for myself, for thousands of clients, and hundreds of thousands of people that have followed my content for the past nearly 8 years, okay? It works, trust me. 50% win rate, making more in your winners versus what you lose in your losers works perfectly fine. You getting irritated is a problem that you have with yourself. It's a problem with your ego, and you have to let that go and recognize that losses are going to happen, and you cannot lose your enthusiasm as you continue forward through trading. You should embrace losses, because as long as you keep losses small, it ensures that whenever you do happen to win, you make more on your winners than you lose on your losers. Think about that. And if you need to, bookmark this video and come watch it again whenever you start feeling like shit when you're on a losing streak. It is what it is. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and pop off. If you hit the like button on this video, I really appreciate it. I got to post more stuff on Telegram and get back to client. So I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Happy trading.
I don't think I have ever seen anything more polarized before. You have so many people that hate NVIDIA right now. You have people that hate other players and also hate game developers. And it's just this war that's being waged on all ends. And I don't actually think it's going to be getting any better. NVIDIA just announced their DLSS 5, which is the next iteration in their AI suite of tools for video upscaling. And what they effectively showed was an AI Instagram filter for your video games. That's what it looks like. Look, I'm not normally somebody that is going out of their way to hate on AI. I see its usefulness. Even for a technology like this, I can still see some usefulness. But what they showed off, it was unequivocally AI slop. There's just no getting around it. It looked absolutely horrendous. And something like this, I think, is just another step down a path where everything looks the same and costs more money. Can't forget that part. This has been a hotly contested topic, mostly because of what was shown, how optional it is, and how oftentimes these kind of features that are instantly hated end up becoming a standard. But I think that that's really short-sighted, because this is an industry that is hyper-optimized to deliver you the minimum viable product rather than the best game possible. And for an industry that optimizes for that, well, standardizing something like this becomes a really, really big issue. So today what I want to do is I want to talk about DLSS 5. I want to talk about what it actually is, what it actually does, how it's going to affect your games and your money, and also why the reaction has been the way it is. Historically, I have never really been all that down on AI. I get the concerns. I share in a lot of them. I mean, I really do not like what they've done to the consumer hardware market, but at least we have Jeff Bezos coming out saying that we don't even need to own PCs in the future. But I always thought it was something that was just going to run its course. It's going to find its uses. It's going to become a tool that people can use, not something that is going to be world-ending. It's not going to replace everybody or much of anything, but it's also not going to be something that's entirely useless.
No, we don't want you to have right to control over your own hardware.
Enough. They don't get the investors salivating. They don't send your stock prices to the moon. No, what does is complete replacement, world-changing implications, science fiction made real, and that's exactly what these guys have been selling since day one. Sam Altman promising the age of abundance, the end of disease, PhD level expertise for everybody. Dario Amodei saying that AI is going to eliminate 50% of white collar jobs. Jensen Huang also agreeing with that and pushing that stuff further. It just makes the average person cringe, but it makes every investor's heart sing. And for whatever reason, it's just been working. They've got over $1.7 trillion raised in data centers that are being thrown across the world at an unhinged rate. But lately, we've come across a problem. See, it's been 4 years since ChatGPT launched, and, well, none of what these guys have promised has actually happened, not even close. AI has definitely improved. Sure, it has its uses, but the commercial ceiling for this technology is way lower than a lot of these guys would like to admit. There are only so many industries that can absorb this industry at scale, and for your average person, I mean, ChatGPT is great if you're writing a college essay, though they got a lot of tools to be able to detect for that, and well, generative video and images have definitely come a long way, but most people are just using that for memes. That's it. $1.7 trillion for Agartha memes. Just to keep it straight with you guys, I genuinely have no idea what these guys actually expected. This is some of the worst marketing and worst business management I think that I have ever seen. They have investor support, sure, but they've almost entirely unified the public against them, the actual people that they need to be able to sell this stuff to. Data centers are swallowing land and resources, driving up utilities, pushing people out of their homes. They've spent years now marketing AI as something that is going to replace the average person's value to society, and now they're surprised that nobody's buying their merch. Like, guys, what were you thinking? Of course people hate it. And the numbers paint a very painful picture. Only 3.3% of Microsoft 365 users are actually paying for Copilot. ChatGPT subscription growth in 2025 was only 5%, with OpenAI projecting a $14 billion loss in 2026. Others are also showing similar signs. Now, investors are panicking, and also you have the CEOs that are panicking right along with them, and two things started to happen. First, these guys come out and they go on the defense, trying to tell everybody to stop calling their products AI slop, even though that's all the average person is going to see on social media, because that's mostly what it's being used for. And second, and this is the one that matters, especially for this conversation, they started forcing it into everything they could get their hands on just to juice their numbers and hopefully hide the hemorrhage from their investors. Microsoft has already been running this play, Copilot into Office 365, into Windows Desktop, and now reportedly into the Xbox dashboard. But these guys aren't the only ones that are trying to force it into gaming. NVIDIA just announced DLSS 5 dropping later this year, calling it an AI-powered breakthrough in visual fidelity for all games, promising it will infuse pixels and photorealistic lighting and materials and bridge the gap between rendering and reality. It's a new layer that's now being added into their existing suite of AI tools like frame generation or super resolution, two technologies that, at least in my experience, have mostly just created more problems. Digital Foundry ran a hands-on exclusive that felt like it was more or less written by NVIDIA's marketing department. The whole thing was just wall-to-wall praise, while everything that these guys were showing, it was essentially just the Instagram AI model filter some guy in India is using to scam people out of money. They're trying to blow your mind by showcasing how it transforms Grace from Resident Evil 9 into the same smoky-eyed woman that we have seen 1,000 times, and also how it turns a 15-year-old student in Hogwarts Legacy into a 40-year-old man. I do not know why these guys thought this looked good. The reaction is about what you would expect. Everybody hates it. Social media was flooded with RTX on and RTX off memes almost immediately. People were ironically using AI to dunk on AI, which kind of feels like its highest calling right now. And then you also had the usual handful of AI profile picture guys that are telling everybody that they're complaining over nothing, that this is a generational leap, that we just jumped 3 generations overnight. Now, I will say that NVIDIA claims that DLSS 5 is fully developer controlled, that they can dial things up or dial things down, they can tune it for whatever they're looking for, and in theory, that means that these developers can limit it to something reasonable, like improving environmental lighting, rather than trying to retexture every environment or everything into a damn fever dream. And a lot of people that are defending DLSS 5 have brought that up, and I don't think that these guys are necessarily wrong, I just think that they're a little bit short-sighted. I've seen a lot of people that have been pointing out how hypocritical this backlash is because, yes, people freaked out over things like frame gen and AI upscaling too, and those things got normalized, but that's exactly the problem for me. None of this stuff should be normalized. These games should be built from the ground up, optimized natively with minimum reliance on these superficial fixes. That's how you get games that actually look good and run well. What's funny is we're talking about the games industry, the same industry that is hyper-optimized to do the exact opposite. Minimum viable product, cut every single corner they can, ship that game even if it's not finished, and well, extract as much profit from as little effort as possible. So sure, right now these guys are going to be showing you DLSS 5 where it's on existing games, which makes it really easy for them, and maybe a couple people are going to think that it looks cool, but the real question that you need to be asking is, what gets built with this in mind from day one? Now, the funny thing is, we already know the answer to this. Monster Hunter Wilds was developed with frame gen and upscaling baked in. The developer marketed that way. They recommended these tools to their users for the game to be able to reach its full potential, and that game shipped as a performance nightmare that took Capcom a better part of a year to be able to fix. Now, ironically, Digital Foundry, the same people that are out here seal clapping for DLSS 5, they covered that disaster in their own performance breakdown, and they blamed Capcom's reliance on those tools. Like, what are we doing here? When publishers have an AI solution to hide behind, they're going to use it as an excuse to ship something that is unfinished. It happens every single time. Do people not have pattern recognition? No wonder anybody can't finish a damn video game anymore. And by the way, the whole people complained and then accepted it argument when it came to some of the other features doesn't even make sense here. Upscaling and frame gen, when they're working, are invisible. DLSS 5 is visible by design. That is the entire pitch. It's supposed to make the games look better, at least from their perspective. And this isn't people asking you to accept a performance tool that's going to be running quietly in the background. No, they're asking you to look at a different game and call it better. This stuff just looks terrible to me, and I just don't want to have anything to do with it. I will say that I did tilt my head in tepid favor to the Starfield changes because, while that game just looks atrocious to me, I call it Shartfield for a reason, but this is all something else. This looks like one of those here's my game AI fever dream posts that I see on Twitter every single week, like the guys that are on there, like, look, I fixed your video game character, those kind of posts. And what kills me is that Digital Foundry explained exactly why. They said that this technology is predicting the intent of the original artist, which is why, once this filter goes on, Resident Evil doesn't look like a Capcom game, and Hogwarts Legacy doesn't look like Hogwarts Legacy. These games just look like each other. Now, the other thing that I think is really important to keep in mind is that NVIDIA only achieved this marvel of technology by running it through two 5090s. 2 of them. Now, they said that they plan on getting this working on a single GPU this fall, but given the state of optimization in the games industry these days, the idea of my GPU running a predictive AI on top of frame gen or whatever else they want to have running, I just do not see that ending well. It's going to need more power,
I
which
hear
means it's going to
more
need more
layers
expensive.
and more processing power, not less, and that's never going to be the right answer, okay? Never going to be the right answer.
hardware that is scarce already to begin with, which means the gap between what you have and what you need is going to get a lot wider. Now, run that same logic through the next generation of consoles made by companies that are similarly high on their own supply of AI, and watch the price of everything skyrocket. I have genuinely been losing my mind over this because for whatever reason, there are people that are out there that just cannot see the future implications of something like this. They do not see the road that this leads down, and it's not a pretty one. People have convinced themselves that this is the next generation of photorealistic graphics and high-fidelity video games. We don't need that. Nobody's asking for that, and if they are, they're stupid. I'm just going to say it. If you're asking for that, you're stupid. Because games already run like shit. I think that most games look great to begin with, and most games aren't even fun. Why don't we solve those issues and also the pricing problem instead of whether or not I can see my reflection of video game characters' ass or not? What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, all this is going to do is just lead to worse games. That's all it's going to do, because these companies are just not going to see the value in talent anymore because they believe that they're going to be able to mask the lack of talent with a tool, and then they're going to walk around and they're going to start selling you games that are not what they actually are. It's just going to be Watch Dogs 2 over and over and over again. People are going to get fleeced. Now, the art direction part of this conversation, it does bother me. I do appreciate these games for the art that they are, especially the games that I actually like. But I don't think that a lot of people that aren't like really into games, they just don't understand how much it actually impacts their entire experience. Like the Demon's Souls remake, while functionally, mechanically, I thought it was fine and I enjoyed it, there was something about the game's atmosphere, the decay and the oppressive atmosphere that game had that was just ripped out of it. And the reason why is because it was other developers that were interpreting somebody else's intent. That's what DLSS 5 is doing. It's the whole point of it. It's the whole pitch. It's just predicting what the artist wanted to do and taking it the rest of the way. It's not their work. It's not the same thing. And art's important, man. It's why games like Hades don't look anything like God of War. It's why a game like Hollow Knight feels the way that it does while also looking the way that it does. And you know, those imperfections, the stylistic choices these games make, that's the secret sauce, man. That's what really gets people locked into a lot of these games. And, you know, when you have something that is essentially just pattern matching its way towards photorealism, all you're going to do is just get the same looking games over and over again because it's a machine and that's what it does. You're giving it a problem to solve. It's going to solve that problem, which honestly, the games industry has had no problem with because they've already been doing that without AI's help. We've already seen that happening with Unreal Engine 5, doing that in the background with all these people moving over to that engine. But now in this case, DLSS 5 is just a rocket strapped to that problem. It's the acceleration of the samification of video games. And I think that is a problem that is well worth being worried about, especially if people aren't pushing back. I'm just going to say it. I think that photorealism is the leading cause of death to the enjoyment of video games. I do not think that video games need to look any better than they do right now. If they didn't change at all and they just ran better, I would be a happy boy. But I think that this all started way back with older video games. As developers got more experience, as hardware got more capable, game to game, system to system, the jumps were just insane for the graphics. And out of those jumps came this obsession. Now, I'm partially going to blame the audience here, myself included, because when I was younger, the more real a game looked, the more excited I got. But I know that I wasn't alone. There was an entire generation that became graphic obsessed, and the industry chased it. For the better part of a decade, every single game was just trying to up the ante until two games. We're going to call them the original sins: Red Dead Redemption 2 and The Last of Us. Both these games were, and honestly still are, absolutely stunning. The lighting, the shading, the environmental design, the cutscenes, their quality took the world by storm. And I think that's where we largely peaked as a society, or at least with fidelity. But where the industry had no chance at all of ever replicating Red Dead Redemption 2, they picked the low-hanging fruit and they followed The Last of Us instead. And what followed was the slow death of enjoyable video games and the rise of these wannabe interactive movies with high fidelity and no fun. The problem is this was never really about quality or artistry, or honestly even about video games for that matter. Making a better game was a way too difficult concept for these guys to wrap their heads around, so they defaulted essentially to interactive movies. It was all about optimization for profitability. Insane fidelity became the easiest thing for these guys to sell to players, to investors, and these companies just standardized themselves around it. Copy and pasted pipelines of factory-made products, everyone just chasing the same thing. And at the highest level, the industry just started to look like these guys were all making the same game. And in many cases, they quite literally are. This is the same reason that nearly every developer under the sun has now migrated to Unreal Engine 5. It takes the weight off of their shoulders. There is no need for them to develop their own engine, no need for engineers that need to be around to maintain it. It's much easier to onboard and replace developers, and they have a full suite of tools that are built in specifically for these guys to be able to cut corners. DLSS 5 is just a giant leap further down that exact same road, a predictive AI-driven pattern matching layer for photorealism draped onto everything that it touches, and it's just going to accelerate all of this sameness that's already killing the industry at the top level. I was talking with a friend of mine about DLSS 5, and they just kept going on about how necessary this technology was, how this is the only way to reach the next level of fidelity, and I came into the realization of why? Why do we need this? What does it actually matter? Even if it does make games look more photorealistic, how does that make them more fun or interesting? How is it going to help them stand?
Why am I beeping? Where's my beepy? Oh, I might go for a shower after these. I need these winds out the way and then I'll go for a shower. Where's the phone that's beeping, huh? Oh, it's in my pocket. No. Hello, pretty boy. Why don't you come up here with the girl? Hello, girl. Hello, girl. Boy. Zeus. Zeus. When you're ready. I love you. Zeus. Get up. Come on. Eat. There you go.
Out against other people when they're all using it at the exact same time? How is it going to help these games sell? Because photorealistic games aren't even the ones that are leading the industry right now. Last year's biggest breakout hits were Schedule 1 Peak, Escape from Duckov, Hades 2, Donkey Kong Bonanza. This year, Marathon just got lapped by Slay the Spire 2. And while Battlefield 6 and Monster Hunter Wilds were two of the biggest sellers in 2025, both of those games shipped broken or hollow, high fidelity, low substance, and neither one of those games held on to their audiences. Which honestly, I feel like that's the most damning part of this story. This whole obsession with realism hasn't just become a marketing crutch for a lot of these guys. I think it's just making games flat out worse.
Somebody say that's not realistic, and you're like, okay, what does that have to, like, explain to me why that's interesting, because in the real world, I have to write up lists of stuff I have to go to the grocery store to buy. And I've never thought to myself that realism is fun. I go play games to have fun.
Not everything needs to be perfect. Not everything needs to be realistic. The one thing that is paramount to any game's success and enjoyment is whether or not that game is fun and whether or not it has its own identity. So when I see a lot of these games that are trying to look the same and do the exact same things, it just makes me believe that that concept is just entirely lost on modern game design. Gabe in that clip is specifically talking about mechanical realism, but that mentality flows into everything that these guys do. Their art direction, their design philosophy, the whole entire thing. Valve does not care about what a game looks like. They care about what that game does for the player. Because to them, reality isn't fun, but they think that games are supposed to be fun. Now, this isn't to say that photorealism or photorealistic games can't be good. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. That game is absolutely stunning, but there was intent behind that. They weren't chasing realism for the sake of a screenshot. These guys wanted to recreate a world, a time period, a history in a way that felt authentic, because that's what these guys wanted. And that realism never came at the cost of the mechanics or the writing or the game's experience. That game was built with a very specific reason and decision for everything that they did. And notice how different that looks in practice. That game runs beautifully. It feels great regardless of hardware. It was insanely fun to play because the realism was the foundation from day one instead of something that was plastered on at the end. That's the difference that DLSS 5 can never close. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try to wave the flag of creative vision for game artists or try to talk about how NVIDIA is an affront to all of game design, because honestly, it was Capcom that used these tools and approved them and put them in NVIDIA's marketing. It was Bethesda that made a video that was all excited about implementing DLSS 5 into Starfield and into future games. It was Ubisoft coming out and saying, okay, actually, that one's pretty predictable, so just forget I mentioned that. But the people that are defending DLSS 5 are not wrong that this is the studio's call. But it's also definitely not the artist. And in AAA, I think that's just what we're signing up for. This is AAA development at this point. And that's both for the players and also for the developers. What the artists want and what executive management want are two entirely different things. And also what it seems the industry still hasn't figured out yet is that, well, what we want and what they want are also two entirely different things as well. Now, the one big concern that I have with DLSS 5, and I really haven't seen anybody bring this stuff up yet, let's just say that this technology really is that good, and it's just that transformative. Games built around DLSS 5 are going to look so dramatically different with it on versus off that they're barely even going to be recognizable as the same game. What was shown was not a minor visual toggle, it was two different products, which means that whatever is going to get shown in trailers, in marketing, and review coverage, well, that is going to be the DLSS 5 version. That's the best case scenario. That's what these guys are going to try to put their best foot forward with. And that is going to fall short by a significant amount from what players are actually going to get their hands on, the vast majority of players. Now, we have already seen marketing versus reality be an issue in the games industry forever, but this industrializes it at a level that we have never seen before. And under that is going to be a much quieter problem. Now, you have a hard line between players who can afford the hardware to run this and players who can't. And the game that those two groups are playing are genuinely not the same game. That gap has always existed to some degree, but now it's intentional, and I don't think people are going to like it. So where do I think this is all going? Well, I think that DLSS 5 is coming out no matter what. That's pretty much written in stone, and I also think that these studios are going to use it regardless of what anybody else thinks, and they're going to use it to varying degrees depending on studio to studio. The problem is that I think that because of how aggressive this tool seems to be, that all it's going to do is it's just going to make more of these games look the same. These guys are just stuck in a state of visual entropy that they cannot escape. All of their energy is going to how these games look rather than how these games play or perform or pretty much anything else. And because all of these guys are essentially chasing the exact same goal, all it's leading to is them just making the same games over and over again. They look the same, they sound the same, they smell the same. I guess you really can't smell them, but they play the same. You know, outside of price, this is one of the main reasons why these guys have been losing so much market share to indie games. Like, I know that, yes, Battlefield 6 sold 20 million copies, which is great volume, and they might beat an indie game volume to volume, but the indie games have way better margins on cost. They're collecting way more money off of this and spending a lot less money at the exact same time. And the indie games also have way better customer satisfaction. Look at how many people out of the initial group that was playing Battlefield 6 that are still playing Battlefield 6. The game has lost over 90% of its players. That's insane. I cannot be the only one that feels like a lot of these games look the same and also play the same. And this kind of thing has been happening for a really long time. And throwing an AI filter on top of it, I know they're not calling it that, but I have eyes. All it's going to do is it's just going to put a surface level pass of a program that's there to essentially just do pattern recognition. And that pattern recognition usually just kind of lines out the exact same way. If you go and you look at all the pictures that they'd shown, all the screenshots between those games, notice how very similar each face got regardless of what studio it came from or what kind of art direction it had. That's just what AI does. I implore you guys, I'll give you a social experiment. Go to an AI and ask the AI to prompt a attractive woman. Show me an attractive woman. Then right after that, go and say, show me an attractive man. I would guarantee you that it's likely going to be a man in a black shirt and jeans with dark hair and dark eyes. That it's going to be a woman in a dark shirt and blue jeans with dark hair and dark eyes. Maybe she might be blonde. But that's just what these things do. They optimize for what they believe is the best possible result off of what they're looking at. They don't understand nuance. They don't understand mistakes or what a good intentional mistake even looks like. They don't understand any of that stuff. It's there to solve a problem. So it's turning art, it's turning game design into a problem that it's trying to solve. But in a lot of cases, there's not really a whole lot to solve here. That's not going to change until these AI become sentient. And at that point, we're dealing with T1000. So, we got a lot more to worry about in that case. Anyway, I'm interested to hear what you guys think about this. Maybe I'm overreacting to it a little bit too much. Probably. I don't know. I'm kind of, you know what it is? I'm just sick of games just trying to chase fidelity. I really am. It's just making games worse, and it's made games worse for many, many years now. And I think that games today look just fine. I really do. I think the vast majority of games look just fine, and there's nothing else that they need to do to them. They just need to focus on how these games run and how these games play. Focusing on making them more fun and focusing on making them actually work. Also, being cheaper would be nice, but we also know that's not going to happen. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching the video. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter. Comment down below. Like the video. Subscribe. I think I subscribe. Share the video. Do everything. Talk to you guys in the next one. Stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe. Peace.
I didn't set out to become the most wanted solo on the server, but after killing a few too many of the wrong people, things escalated. Suddenly, I had neighbors plotting against me.
Yeah, don't go to bed tonight.
Groups camping my door, and a bounty on my head. But look, I'm getting ahead of myself here. You see, this all started on the beach on wipe day. I had joined just seconds after wipe, which is rare for me. But being so early, I would need to get to my build location as quick as possible, collecting any resources along the way. Man, it is like 4 AM here in Australia, fresh wipe. I'm never this early. This feels good though. Everyone else is starting fresh. I need to try and get ahead of any groups if I can right now. And that's exactly what I did, farming a bit of wood and continuing to head inland towards where I wanted to live. Oh, I hear someone farming. Someone's farming nodes right now. I need all the resources I can get. First kill of the wipe. Come here, boy. I'm sorry, but I need this. Cheers, buddy.
Man, please! Can you pick me up?
No. Okay, should be able to get a bag down nearby with this. I really feel like playing aggressive today. I don't know why. I think usually when I'm solo, I like to lay low, but nah, I think today we should go a little try hard. Okay, I need to get something down, man. It's getting dark. Now, I actually don't mind this area. We are right next to the supermarket here. That's going to give us some good early game scrap and components. And of course, we've got the recycler. But it is also going to get very busy once people get here
Nothing frustrates the hell out of me more about Forex.
On the 6th of February 2026, arguably the biggest futures prop firm, at least at that time, ruined the trust of thousands of traders. Seemingly out of nowhere, there were sudden price increases, rule changes without a real heads up, trading halted on certain instruments, and on top of that, many traders were being accused of hedging and actually lost their profits, lost their accounts. Now, the firm we are talking about is of course TopStep. This led to TopStep receiving many negative reviews, where a lot of traders are accusing TopStep of actually pulling a rug pull. And rightfully so, traders think that because of what happened, TopStep might be in financial trouble. Now, what if I told you that all the changes that have happened probably have nothing to do with financial trouble, and it was all part of a larger plan that also includes the like of Plus 500, the broker? Because what happened on the 6th of February 2026 was only the tip of the iceberg. To fully understand what's going on and what this is going to lead to, we need to go back to 2025. And I'm truly not trying to sound dramatic, but we might be seeing a monumental shift in the prop firm industry, where TopStep is the first of many. So what exactly has happened to TopStep, and what are they not telling us? And what can we expect from TopStep, but also other prop firms in the future? Before we dive into everything, let me really quick also give a legal disclaimer. Please don't sue me. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Commentary is based on public reports, user experiences, and community allegations. The statements of me reflect my own interpretation. These are not verified claims. Although we did reach out to TopStep regarding the situation, and they have also responded to us, which is something I'll share later on in this video. To fully sketch the idea of how bad the situation truly is, we scraped 3,100 reviews from TopStep's Trustpilot page to see the trends in the reviews. Now, there's a significant review decline, of course. So the last 30 days, the average rating of the reviews that are left is 2.18. Then the last 90 days, that's 2.03. Lifetime, so all the reviews that we scraped, 3,100, was 2.99. And we need to specifically pay attention to where everything was seemingly okay still, where many would argue actually that TopStep was the best futures prop firm. From June till November 2025, on average, they received a rating of 4.1 to 4.5. Now, December 2025 is where everything just plummeted. 1.65 on average. January, there was some recovery. February 2026, there was a large drop again, 1.94 on average throughout that month. It's not like this is a momentary thing where it's just, well, a tiny dip in the overall reviews. No, December and February took a huge hit. Again, 1.65 on average is absolutely insane. So something happened in those specific months. Now, to fully understand what is happening, I'm going to sketch you the timeline of events, the timeline of the incidents. This all starts with what many people don't know on October 22nd, 2025, when there was a partnership announced. Because TopStep on that day partners with Plus 500. Plus 500 enters exclusive partnership with TopStep. Now, what is this all about? They say that this is a strategic partnership with TopStep, and the reason why they mention here that Plus 500 will exclusively provide clearing and technology infrastructure for TopStep brokerage and TopStep's broader enterprise. Through this partnership, TopStep's large and active trader community will gain direct access to live CME Group exchange markets through Plus 500's institutional grade clearing, order routing, and risk management technology. So essentially, TopStep is receiving the tech stack of Plus 500. Now, why do they need that? Because the goal right here is to integrate brokerage infrastructure. We see the comments also from the founder and CEO of TopStep. This ensures we can offer our customers a best-in-class brokerage experience backed by world-class technology. Something that I also want to highlight further in the comments of the CEO of TopStep. Together, we are expanding opportunities for active traders and strengthening the foundations for sustainable growth. So the goal is that TopStep is moving towards adding a broker department. That's the goal. And this partnership plays a huge role in that. So if we now move on to the second timeline of events right here, then December 2025, the platform issues begin. So on TopStep X, now a lot of issues start showing up. There's positions not closing and stop losses being ignored. For example, Mujib trades right here. We can see that the stop loss that he places on TopStep X, the platform that TopStep has, actually completely ignores the stop loss right there and just moves lower again. Now these platform issues, of course, they can happen, but what was a major issue that for a lot of people, for a lot of traders, the profits were not reinstated. There were many frequent outages that kept coming. Notably, December 16th was a very bad day. When the outages did happen, there was weak or delayed support. There was no clear communication from TopStep's side. At least that's what the customers felt like. Now, of course, it could be a coincidence that, like Mujib right here, live traders had a problem with executing orders and stop losses were being ignored. And that almost exactly a month prior, TopStep enters an exclusive partnership with Plus 500 in order to gain direct access to the live CME markets. So what exactly is happening here? Let's move on to the next one right here. January 2026, we see structural changes in TopStep. So there were, again, a couple of rule changes as well. For example, 90-10 profit split on the first 10K that was earned. Now, on top of that, there was an official brokerage launch, TopStep X. I am not referring to the TopStep X platform right here, referring to a brokerage. TopStep Brokerage unveils industry's first prop to brokerage funding model. Essentially, summed up, start right here, introducing broker enables traders to transfer prop earnings directly to a live futures account. This again has been building up. So they also mentioned right here, this is part of that strategic partnership with Plus 500, allows use of trading technology, risk management solutions, and FCM clearing. The waitlist is now open with plans for TopStep brokers to go live later this year. This was on the 27th of January, which has all been building up again from that partnership with Plus 500. Whilst we were editing this video, the CEO of TopStep tweeted a couple of things that confirm our suspicion. Now, the first thing is that on the 27th of February, he tweeted, "Is this the future? Prop payouts deposited directly into your personal brokerage. What if it looked like this?" And it looks like, choose how you would like to receive your payout. One of the options being depositing it directly into your TopStep brokerage account. And of course, introduce account powered and cleared by who other than Plus 500. A couple of days after this, on the 2nd of March, he tweeted, "Happy to report we're the first trader in the history of mankind to transfer TopStep prop SIM payout directly into a live TopStep brokerage personal account." This is happening as we speak. And I'm not sure people understand the enormous impact that this is going to have on the prop firm industry. Because there are a couple of possibilities that I would like to discuss with you. Now, the first one is my pessimistic view, because I would argue that this is the end shitification of prop firms. And the reason why I say that is because realistically, who asked for this? As in, which customer actually wants this? As a trader myself, if I get a payout, I can already deposit that payout into my own broker of my own liking. Of course, you could make the argument, well, it is quite convenient. And I'm sure there are traders out there that do think this is actually quite nice to have. But I would argue the majority of customers doesn't really need this. And the majority of people that do want this are the CEOs, are the founders that just want to keep you in their ecosystem and that just want to make more money off of you. And the reason why I call it end-shitification and not innovation, so why I don't think this is a good thing, is because the prop firm side needs to become stricter in order to pull this off. Again, maybe I'm being pessimistic and I hope I'm wrong on this possibility. But what could happen is that prop firms are going to see what TopStep are doing right here. They're going to think, well, we are losing our edge right now, so we also need to introduce our own brokerage account. And then what happens is that they also need to make their own prop firm side stricter in order to actually make that happen, to have to add that brokerage department. And then what happens is you buy an evaluation, you might get a couple of payouts, and the prop firm is going to say, well, don't go too fast. You're getting a little bit too crazy with the payouts right now. We're going to limit you to maybe 5-6 payouts. And after that, you are going to move to your own brokerage account. So arguably the whole reason what made prop firms so great initially is slowly fading. If this option, if this possibility will actually play out, then we have another possibility that I can think of. Other prop firms are going to see this. They're going to see the backlash that TopStep is receiving. They're going to see the traffic diminishing. They're going to see the revenue of TopStep potentially diminishing as well, which I don't know if that's going to be the case, something we're going to discuss later on in this video. And they might say, well, this is not the next move for prop firms. And instead, they're going to double down on what makes a prop firm so good. And that is not moving on to your own brokerage account later on. Because the reason why I personally like prop firms is because you can trade relatively risk-free. You don't have to deposit 50K of your own money into a brokerage account and trade with your own money, essentially. So relatively risk-free, you can get payouts from trading with an account provided by a prop firm. There are more scaling options with a prop firm compared to just trading your own personal account, for example. And that's what made prop firms so great initially. So I'm absolutely certain if there are prop firms out there that are going to double down on what made prop firms so great initially, not necessarily, and sure, it can be an option as long as it doesn't come at the cost of making the prop firm worse to push your own brokerage, if that makes sense. Then the next incident that we have is February 2026. Again, major live account changes. So rule changes, for example, one live account at a time. No full capital on day one, only 20% tradable. Capital unlocks gradually. Risk violations reset traders back to sim. Pricing changes, so a price increase followed by a 30% discount, which I'm Dutch myself. That is the good old government trick regarding gas prices. Increase the price, so it's a pretty massive hit at first, and afterwards you decrease it just a little bit to soften the overall hit. Now, understanding the full story, it seems that everything that has changed is quite orchestrated. And even the price increases right there, that seems planned. And I'll tell you why later on as well. But before we do that, let's move on right here. So this is where we now arrive February 6th, where we see many traders being accused of hedging, account terminations, allegations of wrongful bans, live traders affected without warning, accusations of rug pull, payout denials, forced migration to new live accounts. And on top of that, there were still many platform complaints like latency, unresponsive exit, lock trades, poor customer support, and AI chatbot delays. Now we need to understand the bigger picture, the brokerage transition, because I believe it has everything to do with this. So what is happening?
I got caught by those delays when they switched over. It caused issues on all of the white label platforms, and none of them were closing up properly. Yeah, that hurt. I lost a couple of accounts over that. Oh, what's going on here, bro? Please recalculate. Not seeing my deal. I'm sleepy. Oh, I'm feeling sleepy. Okay, bro.
Well, the prop firm industry is heading into a certain direction. And with the futures industry is arguably lagging behind a little bit. Well, you could argue TopStep is the front runner, but the CFD industry, we've seen this coming already. And as an ex-prop firm owner, I can tell you quite confidently what is happening. Because we see prop firms transitioning into brokers or adding a broker's department. For example, this was large news at the end of 2025, December 2nd, is FTMO building global trading powerhouse. It completes the acquisition of Owanda, which is a broker. FTMO, being the largest CFD prop firm, acquired a broker, which is a huge move. But again, why are they doing this? On top of that, we also see that brokers are launching prop firm divisions. So for example, we see IC Markets joins industry trend with soft launch of prop trading offering, where eventually they launch IC Funded. Or for example, Blueberry Markets, which is also a broker they have been in the prop firm space for quite some time because that's what Blueberry Funded is. So we see that the lines between prop firms and brokers are becoming more blurred. And why exactly is this? Well, there's a strategic angle to it. Because prop firms are, very simply said, they're a marketing funnel. Because prop firm traders are arguably the highest quality broker leads. So what does that mean? Well, if we go to this article right here, ATFX converted over 10% of prop traders to brokerages in South America. This all starts with the CFD industry, which the futures prop firm industry is now sort of catching up. So many CFD brokers are now offering prop firm trading. But is it a supplementary service or a clever strategy for converting traders? So essentially what this article tells us right here is that prop firm traders are the exact type of audience, the same target audience that will eventually also open a brokerage account. So the way you can see these prop firms are like a gold mine. They're a gold mine for customer acquisition cost. Essentially, in very simple, plain terms, that means that brokerages, usually they tend to pay a lot on advertisement, etc., to eventually, hopefully, get someone who's interested in opening a brokerage account and actually deposit money. Instead of that, they can actually look to open their own prop firm department. And that prop firm department is like free marketing, where the traders even pay you to pay that evaluation fee, to try to pass the evaluation, etc., to eventually open a brokerage account. So prop firms and brokers have a very similar type of audience. Even if initially the people don't want to open a brokerage account, they might pay for a prop firm account. So it's a battle between these prop firms and brokers to build a whole ecosystem where if you get to know about trading, the first thing you might, okay, well, risk-free, quite relatively seen risk-free, you can pay $100 a month, $100 a month for an evaluation, and you can try to make some money from it. Eventually, you might say, well, the profits you make right there, we can also move you to a live brokerage account because it's a very similar type of audience. So winning traders will eventually be moved to live broker accounts. And we recently had a discussion about this with a trader that was also with TopStep. And he asked, well, is it even worth it? Is it even worth it to move to a live account with TopStep? Because the moment they move you to a live account, you're quite limited in how you can trade and you still have a profit split. So what if you just take those profits and you move it over to a brokerage account? Can you see where this is going? Because then isn't that the whole goal? Wasn't that the whole goal of the prop firm? To eventually lure you into a brokerage account. Again, I'm stating my thoughts here, but imagine a whole ecosystem where essentially you can start with prop firm trading. So you pay a fee. And as long as you're losing, perfectly fine, because you keep paying that fee, right? Now, if you start winning and you start actually making profits right there, eventually you will be moved over to a live account, which is already the standard. The moment you start profiting a little bit too much, they might say, okay, well, what if we just move you to your own live brokerage account? Because again, that's why you have the prop firm side and you have the brokerage side. You can initially use the prop firm profit that you made to fund your own brokerage account. It's like a head start. And then eventually you might just end up trading your own live brokerage account. So you're just risking still some of your own money, right? You're still risking your own profits that you made. But I'll give you more of my thoughts on that at the end of this video as well. Now, on top of that, why prop firms might be adding a brokerage department is also for regulatory benefits. We also see that in the CFD space where prop firms are looking to add a broker department as well in the scenario if it might happen that regulations in the EU, for example, will hit prop firms as well. Now the same, again, in the US, prop firms are in general already more regulated as well, but still, it's not fully regulated, if you know what I mean. So adding a broker department makes that whole company look a bit more serious, if that makes sense. And the regulation story is also something that is quite important to understand, because that's, for example, why there might be certain rule changes. Now, again, the key question right here is, was brokerage integration always the end goal? And how do you fully get to brokerage integration? Because you need to meet specific criteria. That's where we move on. If we state the possible reasons as to why TopStep has been changing so much, then the first reason, again, what a lot of people suspect is financial strain, financial trouble. Now, for example, there might be high payout exposure, volatile metals, market impact, so that's why they halt the trading. Again, in general, prop firms and halting instruments or halting trading on instruments is quite normal. That doesn't necessarily mean that they have financial problems. But of course, that does mean that they're not trying to get into financial problems. Again, that's arguably the whole reason why a lot of prop firms halt trading on certain instruments. On top of that, you could also argue, well, investments into different operations, like a platform, again, like that brokerage, requires quite a lot of investments. So that might be why they have financial trouble at this moment in time. I don't think it has anything to do with financial trouble, in all honesty, because then we're assuming one of the longest lasting prop firms that has been there, one of the biggest ones, is just financially incompetent. So if we move on right here, another possible reason might be operational overload. So again, they're running a prop firm, trying to run a brokerage right here, and they're also running that trading platform, TopStep X. So with all those things right there, there's too many moving parts at once, might be the case. Again, this could potentially be quite a valid reason. I don't necessarily see this as a reason as to why, for example, there might be many rule changes or anything like that. Now, what I think is the most likely reason is reason number 3 right here, brokerage expansion. So think about it. Why do those rule changes actually happen? Why do prices increase? I think they are transitioning. I think they are preparing people. They are preparing their traders for that transition into also a brokerage department. So that ecosystem that we talked about. First, you're a prop firm trader, then eventually you might move to a live brokerage account with TopStep. And again, you can't just all of a sudden do that, if that makes sense. No, because you need to change certain rules because there's regulatory pressure as a broker. That pressure regarding regulations is something you're not going to have as a prop firm alone. Now, this is where I want to dive into the conversation that we have had so far with TopStep. Again, this all starts off with us asking right here about the situation as a whole. Now, quite vague questions overall. The main questions were, in recent months, especially December 2025, the negative reviews have increased by a lot, and we are curious to hear your side of the story. This was directly sent to the CEO, to also the press team of TopStep, and also, again, customer support. We got a response from Wendy right here with essentially giving, well, arguably a little bit of vague answers, dodging the questions a little bit. So we decided to create that timeline and to create more specific questions right here. This is the email that we set up, where we explain the whole scenario and from what we see, what the situation actually is, where we explain the whole scenario that we just went over and essentially asking some questions based on that. So question section 1 is, from what we understand, plus 500 will help Project X or TopStep X with getting a live data feed. Does plus 500 play a role in the increases in platform problems? Are they the result of synchronization issues, for example, between TopStep's front end and plus 500's clearing engine? Simplified, is plus 500 a cause of those issues? Then we go on right here about the rule changes and why they might have happened. So we move on to question section number 2. Did all the rule changes start due to the plus 500 partnership and the goal of adding a brokerage part to TopStep? Is hedging, for example, again, that mass hedging investigation where many people were accused of hedging, is hedging getting more aggressively monitored because TopStep is trying to move to a brokerage status where hedging might be seen as a regulatory problem? Are rules getting tighter because of the move into a brokerage? On top of that, we asked, can customers expect to slow down with the rule changes, or are more rule changes needed before things get quote unquote better again? Is this a slight bump in the road, or will the TopStep as we know it drastically change things in order to focus more on the brokerage side of things? Those were the questions we had. Now, the first response that we received was, again, from Wendy, the customer support. Thank you for the detailed questions about the partnership, etc., etc. And this is quite interesting. Regarding the hedging enforcement, our mission is to prepare traders for live markets where real exchange strictly prohibit hedging, wash trading, and other manipulative practices. So she refers to CME Group Rule 534, because that specifically prohibits traders designed to manipulative or give an unfair advantage. So if we take a look at CME Group Rule 534, this refers to wash trading. Now, wash trading is very similar to hedging, but oftentimes the term that is used is hedging. But hedging is somewhat the legal version of wash trading, where wash trading is more so you are trying to, with intent, trying to manipulate the market and trying to manipulate the positions to your benefit. Hedging might just be a risk management approach, for example. So there is a difference between the two. Most of the time, they just refer to it as hedging. Now, the fact that she mentioned that wash trading, so CME Group Rule 534, is very interesting in my opinion. Because if you are a prop firm working in a demo environment, again, that CME group rule is not super relevant. So the way that works is, again, same for news trading, for example, and also hedging and these prohibited trading methods. In the demo stages, for example, in an evaluation stage, it's really up to the prop firm if they want to prohibit that or if they want to allow that. As an ex-prop firm owner myself, for example, I know that in the demo environment, you don't necessarily take it that serious if something happens. It's more so when someone gets closer to a payout, of course. That's the moment where these prop firms take it a whole lot more serious when you are hedging. But again, you're not regulated by the broker. For example, you're not regulated by the trading environment itself or the data feed if you can hedge. It's more so out of the best interest, of course, for the prop firm itself. So that's why it's quite interesting, because the CME group couldn't really care if they are hedging in a demo environment, only in a live environment. So this is where that partnership again comes into play. The partnership with Plus 500. They are building a brokerage environment and they're making rules stricter for prop firm traders with the intent, well, at least that's the way I see it, seemingly with the intent to move them eventually to a live brokerage account if they do well enough. But the prop firm rules have to become stricter in order to do so, because now you have actually regulatory pressure from, for example, a CME group. After that, the head of brand and marketing from TopStep also responded to us and mentioned, thanks for reaching out. I'm connecting you with our PR and communications director. It's been more than a week and we still haven't gotten a reply from the PR team. Now, if I have to believe my own experiences with a PR team, usually they tend to give you a whole lot of words that don't tell you anything. They love taking their good time to keep the message very vague without actually telling you anything. We decided to still upload this video because we think this is quite an urgent matter to make everyone aware of what is happening in the prop firm industry without being vague and this
is
PR
insane.
nonsense. If they still give a reply,
I'm so
then
glad
by
I
that time we will
wouldn't
put that
trade
reply
this.
in
I
a
just
pinned
needed
comment
to know, I needed
under
to do
this
this so
video
that I knew,
or
right?
also in the Pitback Discord. Now, how has this impacted TopStep as a whole? So we looked at the website traffic. Overall, we see that the traffic is still very strong. This
How
right
does that
here
take
is the
that
website
trade without
traffic
taking
as
this
of,
one, bro?
I believe this is from the 21st of February all the way back to November as well. November, where seemingly nothing was wrong. Now we see, if we compare to Take Profit Trader and these other firms as well, we actually see TopStep declining just a little bit right there. If we zoom in
Have
a bit
you
more in
ever
comparison
seen
to a Take Profit
such
Trader
a
to, for
flat
example,
move?
TopStep, we do see that other firms are actually gaining on TopStep right here, and that TopStep is currently declining. Here we can see that more clearly. So for example, for the month of February, we see TopStep is down in their website traffic until the February of 21st, down 19%, whilst a Take Profit Trader is actually up 2.16%. So we can see that competitors are slowly catching up. Now, what is quite important to understand is that we cannot conclude the health of the company from traffic alone, of course. Now, we can make a guess, and this is where we now go back to the pricing increases. So my thought is, and again, it's a conspiracy theory, but did they know that they will take a hit? They knew all along, hence the increases in price. Think about it. The goal was always to eventually have that brokerage department. Okay, Plus 500 can provide that with a partnership. Okay, but in order to actually make that happen, they need to make rules stricter. So a lot of rule changes need to happen on the prop firm side as well, because that will eventually help with the brokerage part and to help with regulation. Because they know that that needs to happen, they probably also know, well, that's probably going to receive a lot of backlash. We're going to receive a lot of negativity surrounding that. So we're going to receive less website traffic. But if we increase the prices with less website traffic, then the revenue doesn't really change. We use this 30% discount to soften the hit. And for a brief moment, yes, you might make a little bit less revenue overall. But with the traffic now being lower, the website traffic, less people actually visiting TopStep, and the prices are increasing afterwards, then the revenue doesn't really change. So the overall bottom line is not really affected because of it. So now that we've unraveled everything, then what can we actually do about it, or what should you do about it as a prop firm trader? Now regarding TopStep, I would say wait and observe, let the situation stabilize. See how the company itself also responds. See if there's many more rule changes, for example. And only then after a while decide, do I still want to buy a new account with TopStep, or what do I want to do? Now, what I would advise as well is diversify. again, you have no loyal obligation to a prop firm. And they arguably see it the same way because they're changing rules all the time. So they don't really care about you. They just care about the money in your pocket. So again, you shouldn't have a loyal obligation to a prop firm. I know they've been around for a very long time, but it is what it is. Try not to get into this relationship with a prop firm. There's no need for that. So what I would advise is spread risk across firms. Now, what I think and what we with Pitback think as well as ex-prop firm owners, we think that the opportunity is not going to be in the leaders, the front runners of the prop firm industry. So for example, for the CFDs, that might be FTMO, for futures, that, well, up until this moment, that was actually top step. We think you're better off looking at prop firms that are not small, but are also not the front runners. So that are not big and the leaders. We think the middle is where the opportunity is, because those are the firms that are somewhat established and they're still trying to prove themselves as well. Those prop firms will, for example, have better scaling opportunities. Pitback was built by me and Lucas, ex-prop firm owners. We provide unique insights to prop firms to give you an extra edge. If this does help you, I would highly recommend to join our Discord, where it's essentially like a prop firm intelligence center, where you're going to learn a lot about the ins and outs in prop firms, and you can use that to your advantage.
Then we spend an hour talking shit about other prop firms so that you can join ours. Have you ever seen price just sit within a candle? A single candle's range? Have you ever seen anything like it? I'm not stressing because this is just a checking account. It's not a trading account. So I'm not worried at all. I'm not worried in the slightest. Just checking to make sure that my chat's working on both sides here. It's not a trading account. So I'm not worried at all. I'm not worried in the slightest. Just checking to make sure that Are you experiencing interruptions? Find out why. Because I've got an ad blocker on. The fuck is this? The dog sounds like he's having a seizure. Eh? Probably. Shower should be ready. Where's my tool? I've never seen anything like this. Legitimately never seen anything trade one. Whoa, 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 whoa. Legitimately never seen anything trade like that. Not in all my life. And then the one day I run it, the first day that I run it, Hello, sweetheart. Hello, sweetheart. Hello, sweetheart. Outside. Come on, let's go. Love you. Yeah, shut up. Hello, sweetheart. Hello, sweetheart. Hello, sweet. Hello, sweet boy. I'm beeping. Up. Oh, he's a good boy. Bandy up. Come on. Yeah, hi. Good girl.
Rust and people want to watch me play Rust. Here's the video. I played Rust with Yakov for a while. I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe and comment. It helps out a lot. Enjoy.
Hey, man. Hey, you not picking me up? I'd appreciate it. Oh, thank you, man.
Now, not all heroes wear capes. Just like the researchers that work hard every day to find a cure for all types of cancer. I am teaming up and raising money again this year to do my part and ban cancer for good. You can also join as an individual or be a part of a team.
Sherilyn.
That's me, baby.
I didn't know that was you.
Shazza.
Shazza.
Yeah.
There we go.
Did you fall over your keyboard? What happened there?
Did I fall over my keyboard?
Yeah, and uppercut a few fucking characters that aren't even on my keyboard.
What?
Your name, bro.
Oh. So there's a base that's looking pretty bricked. Up north where I was running. I think we head there to start. I think that could be a good start for us.
Hey. What's up, guys?
Bro, this thing just climbed out of the
You
womb.
guys doing anything cool
Oh,
today?
Yeah, this thing just crawled
Watch
out.
this.
Like I think
Watch this.
the bottom half is still inside the womb.
Ooh,
let's see if we can pull it
ooh, ooh, ooh,
Oh my
ooh.
Oh, Komomo.
Oh,
Mate.
damn.
A
That's
Chad
beautiful.
base.
Fuck yeah.
Yep.
Soft side the top of that.
Oh, metal door with code locks? Me
You
too.
watch, we'll raid in there and there'll be 10 C4 in a box or something.
Yeah, can you imagine? We'd have to restart.
What do you mean, can I imagine? I paid for it.
Yeah, true. And this will be home for the next little bit.
Beautiful.
There we go.
This is hot.
mate. This is good.
They're inside the base, I think.
Yeah, I think they're deeping that one with its window open.
Yeah, there's ladders up. There's nakeds climbing up there. Guy inside the base. Hit him once.
Okay. You right?
No.
Dude, that's... Dead.
Oh, I hit you. That's what?
Holy shit. I thought it was Talia. My stream sniper. I didn't shoot. Holy shit.
Can you let me in?
Yeah.
Thank you, Daddy.
Did you loot him?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's he got?
Stone
We got
pickaxe.
some loot. We won.
Where the hell are all the nodes, bro?
That's what I want to know. I think there's like, I feel like they're bugged on a couple of servers. I've had this on another few as well. There's literally not a node to see. Oh, found one. All right. Yeah, grab this bad boy.
There's a SAR shooting you, I think.
Hey, I'm dead. I'm dead. Double headshot.
Was it a turret or was it a person?
That was a person. Oh, dude, look who it is. Look who's on the rock.
That might be him. I heard noises, bro.
Yeah, check who it is. Go up and check.
Who?
It's the great one.
I don't know who that is. How the f did he get up there, bro?
This is him. This is what he does.
What does he stream snipe you every time?
Yeah, this is Talia.
That's the guy I was tracking in the base.
He'll just watch us from afar, and if we get desperate, he's like a break in case of emergency. He'll never speak to us, but he'll like help.
Have you ever spoken to him?
Nah, never.
What the hell? This is weird as.
With him, dude. I played full duo wipes with him, and everyone in chat loves him.
Bro, get him in the f***ing team, man. I'm gonna shoot the guy in the head accidentally.
Yeah. All right, Talia, come here. Oh, look at that guy, crossbow roof camping. Southwest.
That's hot. 10 gifted subs if I hit him.
Yep. Go.
I hit him. Legitimately. Legitimately.
You actually hit him?
Yes.
You're trolling. I get double or nothing if I hit him and kill him.
Yeah, you should, because he's naked. Oh, no. I hit him again.
What? No.
I did, I'm telling you.
I think I might just farm bot for the next little bit. Try and get the base at least stone. And then...
Hey guys.
Get started on those.
Yes, where the f... Far out.